Before I begin the resolution, I'd like to thank and recognize all the veterans serving in the House. If you could raise your hand to signify you're a veteran, please. All the veterans, please raise their hand. Thank you all very much for your service as we go into Veterans Day. I'd also like to recognize some special guests I have here today. Up on the speakers gallery to the right is Dwight White. He's an alderman in Galesburg City Council. Next to him is Mayor Peter Schwartzman from Galesburg. Next to him is my legislative assistant, Shani Brown Sanders. Next to her is my wife, Tammy. Next to Tammy is Pastor Tony Franklin from Galesburg, and also Mr. Jim Jacobs, a retired teacher from Galesburg. I'm honored to present House Resolution 878. As we honor our veterans today, I want to honor some veterans from the past. Following the Emancipation Proclamation in January of 1863, President Abraham Lincoln called for the raising of a black regiment for the Union Army. Massachusetts Governor John Andrew quickly answered President Lincoln's call and began forming the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry Regiment, one of the first black regiments to serve in U.S. Civil War. Black men from across the state, country, and even other nations traveled to Boston to join this historic regiment. The 54th Mass helped inspire the enlistment of more than 180,000 black soldiers, a boost in morale and manpower that President Lincoln recognized as essential to the victory of the United States and the destruction of slavery throughout the country. 12 of these brave African Americans who answered the call and enlisted on April 26, 1863, with Company H of the 54th Massachusetts, hailed from the city of Galesburg. What brought these men to join the 54th Mass? Possibly they heard former slave and anti-slavery orator Frederick Douglass when he visited Galesburg in 1859. A total of 35 African-American men enlisted from Illinois. Sergeant Joseph Marquette, Corporal Samuel Wells, Private Clay Welcome, Private Joseph White, Private Preston Williams, Private Reuben Caldwell, Private John Davis, Private John Dickinson, Private Hiram Garnett, Private George Hubbard, Private Henry Kirk, and Private William Timms served bravely with the 54th Mass. 9 were laborers. 1 was a hostler. You might ask what a hostler was. A hostler was a man employed to look after the horses of people staying at an inn. 1 barber and 1 mason. Sergeant Burkett, 40 years old, the only married soldier of the 12, and the most prominent, was known for serving as chairman of the Convention of 1866. To discuss civil rights, being a staunch advocate for the desegregation of schools and delivering many speeches for equal rights for African Americans, especially African American veterans. While serving with the 54th Massachusetts, Private Kirk and Private Dickinson were wounded and captured at the Second Battle of Fort Wagner in South Carolina, outside of Charleston. The first Battle of Fort Wagner was July 10th and 11th, 1863. The second battle took place on July 18th, 1863. The Confederates won the battle, but the Union's bravery inspired many and proved that black soldiers could be as effective as white soldiers. The Union suffered 1,515 casualties out of 5,000 soldiers, while the Confederates suffered 174 casualties out of 1,800. Private Kirk and Private Dickinson were held captive in Salisbury, North Carolina, until March 4th, 1865, when a prisoner exchange of 8,684 Union soldiers took place, which included 120 who were African American. Despite 6 of the 12 either being wounded or captured, only 1 died while service to their country. Private Williams, who died due to an accident while in Jacksonville, Florida. The rest of the brave men left the 54th Mass, being discharged at the expiration of their term. It is right that we recognize the brave men from Galesburg who joined the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry Regiment to bring victory and ultimately the destruction of slavery throughout the country. Today we honor these 12 heroes and begin a campaign to recognize in Galesburg their sacrifices, service, and bravery. In honor of Black History Month, the movie Glory will be shown at the historic Orpheum Theater in Galesburg. Interesting enough, Edward Zwick, the director of Glory, has family in Galesburg. I want to acknowledge the work of the late Dr. Herman Milder, Knox College, for his book, A Home from the War, where this information was taken from. Mr. Speaker, I ask for an aye vote on this resolution.
Representative Swanson moves for the adoption of House Resolution 878. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted.